Major funding for this Read 180 workshop is provided by the National Science Foundation, America's investment in the future.
Intel Corporation is a proud supporter of PBS. The Intel Innovation in Education Initiative provides teachers with the resources to inspire their students and encourage them to unlock their potential.
At Jif Peanut Butter, we know just how choosy you are when it comes to your family, including the shows you value most. Public television encourages kids' curiosity and love of learning, and Jif is proud to support Cyberchase on behalf of all choosy moms and dads.
And by a ready-to-learn television cooperative agreement from the U.S. Department of Education through the Public Broadcasting Service.
And by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. This program was also made possible by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
Welcome to Workshop 7, Alien Invaders. What do freaky fish, sneaky snakes, armies of ants, and deadly plants have in common? They're all alien invaders, and they're sucking the life out of everything in their paths. Where do aliens like these come from? Actually, they're homegrown here on Earth. And when they're in their own natural environments, they don't cause problems. But when they travel to new countries and regions, they can become big trouble. So how do alien species wind up in places they don't belong? Why do they cause so much trouble, and can they be stopped? Stay tuned to find out. Reading 1, Freaky Fish Invasion. What happened when this fish from China made a big splash in a small pond in Maryland? When snakehead fish invade alien waters, watch out. These fierce predators will eat anything from turtles to ducks. And though it may sound like something out of science fiction, those fins are made for walking. Okay, the snakehead fish can't really walk, but it can wiggle and burrow across land to get from one body of water to another. So when these fish get loose in an alien environment, there's almost no stopping them. Your first selection is a newspaper article about how this invader species got here and what the police had to do to arrest its spread. Reading 2, Island of Snakes. On their home turf, the island country of Papua New Guinea in southern Asia, brown tree snakes never caused much trouble. But when these sneaky snakes slithered onto cargo ships and planes and invaded Guam, an island in the North Pacific Ocean, they soon became a huge problem.
Can you check that out?
Back home in New Guinea, the tree snakes had natural predators, animals like Komodo dragons that eat brown tree snakes and keep their numbers under control. But on Guam, there are no natural predators to hunt the alien snakes, and today Guam has more than 13,000 snakes per square mile. In this magazine article, you'll discover how these invaders have permanently altered or changed and even destroyed life on Guam, and where they might be headed next. Reading 3, America's Least Wanted. You've heard of America's Most Wanted. Now it's time to meet America's Least Wanted. The U.S. government is working hard to keep these species out of the country. Why? Invading animals and plants are one of nature's biggest threats. Over time, every species has developed ways to protect itself against the predators that share their environment. But when a new species invades, the animals and plants that live there have no natural protection against it. The invader can quickly take over. In the third selection, a science text, you'll learn what scientists are doing to keep alien species out and discover what happened when a few invaders got in. It may look like a harmless underwater plant, but it's a fearsome invader. Check out this video to see how a deadly strain of algae, Taxifolia, is threatening to become the plant that ate everything in sight. The attack of the killer plant. That lush green carpet of algae swaying under the sea looks beautiful, doesn't it? But there's something wrong with this picture. Very wrong. Look closely. Algae are the only things you see here. No other plants, no fish, no sea creatures, because this killer moved in and forced everything else out. Alexander Minas, a French scientist, was stunned to find these algae in the Mediterranean Sea. It looked like a type of algae that usually grows thousands of miles away in the warmer waters of the Pacific Ocean, algae called Taxifolia. But this Taxifolia was much bigger and more dense.
I was really astonished at the size and expanse of the algae. It was different from anything else in the world. It was an alien.
But where did this alien come from? Scientists went to work comparing it with different samples of Taxifolia plants from all over the world, but nothing matched. Until they compared it to a plant that's found everywhere, in fish tanks. This kind of Taxifolia was developed in a laboratory to be used to decorate aquariums. Some of it must have been dumped from a fish tank, found its way into the sea, and kept going and growing. This kind of algae is very hard to kill. Cold water doesn't seem to kill it, so it's able to survive in the cooler waters of the Mediterranean. And fish and sea creatures don't like to eat it, so it drives away all the marine life in its path. It seemed to be unstoppable. Scientists tried digging it up, freezing it out, sucking it up with a vacuum, but it just kept growing and spreading. Now scientists are considering another method, a tiny slug. It's the only known creature in the world that eats Taxifolia, and it kills the plant at the same time. But should they introduce another alien species into the Mediterranean and possibly trade one unstoppable monster for another? The French government is still deciding. Meanwhile, the killer algae continues its relentless march across the sea.